welcome to the, as they say, 64th regular convention. I wonder what those irregular conventions were like of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. We're in Houston. We're on the exhibition floor. We've got a little studio set up, and it's my pleasure to welcome to our little studio on the exhibition floor President Tom Seidel of Concordia University in Austin. Tom, welcome. Glad to have you here. And you're worried that you're going to get snookered, aren't you?
No, not at all.
You're no babe in the woods. Before you retreated to academia, what did you do for a living?
Well, I spent 26 years in the Air Force, fighter pilot.
Oh, a fighter pilot.
F-16s.
F-16s. How do you handle recalcitrant faculty as a fighter pilot?
Gently. Still.
You don't pull a trigger unless you have to.
Yeah, subtly. That's a good thing.
Well, how did a fighter pilot get to be the president of one of our Concordias?
Yeah, isn't that kind of fascinating? I'm still wondering myself sometimes. We got to a point in our life, Penny and I, when we had been in the military for 26 years and said, you know, it's kind of time to change. Prayed about it, thought about it a lot. Retired, went to a corporate job for a while, and at the end of that, although we were making lots of money, said this isn't it. And actually was talking to our home pastor in Virginia at the Living Savior Lutheran Church and said, you know, you ought to think about going into church work, into our Concordia system. And he had a friend who went to the seminary, Alan Hari, president of Velpo, called him up and talked to him. He said, you ought to go do this. So I applied for a position up at Concordia Ann Arbor. For some strange reason, they hired me. I still don't know why. And was in Ann Arbor for 4 years, and then from Ann Arbor came down to Austin. And the Austin Board of Regents stepped out and said, yeah, you'd make a good president.
So when were you elected president?
2002. So I'm just getting ready to start my 9th year.
Okay, and I've just finished my 5th. And I'll tell you, for me at least, all 5 years have been a steep learning curve.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People ask me about that, and I said, you know what? I haven't been a college president before. This is all learning curve.
Yeah, what are some of the things you've learned, good and bad?
Well, good things. In the military, when we had a budget, we never had to worry about the revenue side because the U.S. government gave us that. We worried about the expense side. Well, I got to worry about the revenue side, just like you have to worry about the revenue side now. So that's been a learning curve. How you work with faculty, how you work with the community. Some parts of that I learned in the military, some parts I haven't. So that's been a big learning curve. And of course, our campus relocation was a huge
tell us
event.
about that, because whenever anybody would think of President Seidel, you led the way on a campus relocation. Yeah. Just to make sure we understand this, the campus was in downtown Austin, pretty close to the University of Texas, and you were constrained space-wise, and literally you guided the up and moving to another site. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was fascinating. Talk about it. You know, so many examples of God performing miracles today. I mean, it was amazing. And we were in the right times. For example, the people that bought our property got their funding through Lehman Brothers. I'm serious. We got the check from Lehman Brothers about 6 months before they went down the tubes. And we found another beautiful site with buildings already on it. That was built by the Schlumberger Corporation, and it was perfect for a college campus, lots of room, and bought that and rebuilt it and moved. And Dr. David Kluth was a member of our staff. He was a vice president for University Services. He headed the relocation. Dr. Kluth did an incredible job heading the relocation.
How many acres do you have at the new campus?
Almost 400.
And some of those acres are special acres.
Right, put in a preserve, and it's governed by a federal permit, and it's actually, what a great way to study God's creation. It's 15 feet from our buildings, but it's been amazing. Dr. Kluth moved our campus in 3.5 days. Here's just for your hip pocket, in case you ever need to know, 7 moving trucks, 40 people, 20 at the old campus, 20 into new, shuttling continuously for 3.5 days, moved our whole campus.
Wow.
Basketballs to filing cabinets to everything.
But massive preparation that went into that move.
You bet.
Does the fact that you have this nature preserve right there suggest that maybe you ecology and biology
and environmental science are going to be really, how are we great stewards of this earth that God's given us? How can we do that? We have water quality stuff. There's springs and major water features that feed actually where Austin gets his water from, and species preservation, surveys, water quality testing, all that stuff.
One of the reasons I ask this is because our professor, Dr. Charles Arendt, who is an expert in the 16th century and especially the catechisms of Martin Luther. Okay, so he's 400 some years back. He has developed expertise and a reputation within our church for the stewardship of God's creation. And I think he has been down to your campus.
He has. And it's, it's an incredible resource. In the middle, we're in the city of Austin. Right there, we have this huge resource. So
that's a partnership that I hope that we can develop in the years to come. Tell us about the university. Now that you're in your new location, it used to be that Concordia College, Austin, provided church workers.
Right.
What's the nature of the university today?
It's we still do that, and we're really proud of our pre-sem students that we send up your way, and also to Fort Wayne.
And
they
are good.
Great. They give you such hope for the future. These great folks. Pretty big DCE program, in Lutheran teacher program, and our music program's getting started again. We had some hiccups there, but it's getting moving. So we're really happy about those. We've got a nursing program that's just starting up this fall. It's been pre-nursing, it'll be full nursing. But it's gotten full approval from the state of Texas. It's going to be a faith-based, Christian-based nursing program.
And that's in conjunction with a teaching hospital?
Yeah, it's in conjunction with one of the major medical centers in Austin and Austin Community College. So that's going to be, we're really excited about that. Starting an MBA program this fall too that's already booked up for all the slots that we've got so far. And it's called For the Common Good, an MBA that talks about faith and values.
Now I'm thinking, we are revising the curriculum at Concordia Seminary.
Oh, this is good.
And one of the complaints that I often hear is that our pastors have no clue about business. We could probably work a cooperative distance deployment deal in a new curriculum where your MBA professor could say, here, pastor, here's how you read a balance sheet.
Balance sheet, understanding what it is.
Is that doable?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Easy pie. What's fascinating, and I would think from a pastor's perspective, we don't want the pastor in a congregation to be the treasurer. That's not what God's called them to be. But they need to understand those things. Like you're saying, how do you look at a balance sheet? How do I know if I'm in trouble or if things are going okay? How do I know if the treasurer really knows what they're doing? I think that would be a great toolkit.
I've been a pastor. I had to learn that when I got to the seminary. I had to learn what lines to read. Fortunately, our CFO was patient and has taught me those things. But to teach this to pastors.
Absolutely.
Now, the fact that you're getting into an MBA, nursing, music, and so on, suggests to me that the university's nature has changed over the years, and you probably have to have some concerns about viability and sustainability.
Well, and I think that's a real question. That's a great question, Dale. As we look at Concordia or any of the Concordias for the future, we need, if we had $1 billion endowment, or if you did, that would be one thing, but we don't. So how do we stay faithful to our mission, developing Christian leaders, faithful to supporting the church, but still have enough what I call financially independent legs underneath us, so that if one year one's up, that's great. If it's another one's down, that's okay, we can absorb. And if all of them are up, then that's a great year. So we are really looking at probably 4 to 5 financial legs under Concordia that'll help us stabilize financially.
What are those financial legs?
Traditional undergraduate enrollment. Non-traditional undergraduate.
What does that mean? Non-traditional.
Evening programs, degree completion programs for people that are already working. All those are business focused. But every single one of those students takes Old Testament and New Testament. Here's the good news of Jesus Christ, just like everybody else does. A graduate program in education, an MBA, and a nursing program.
Now, all those programs produce tuition.
Absolutely.
Which is different from the seminaries,
right.
St. Louis and Fort Wayne, because our tuition costs cannot be fully paid by the students.
Sure.
They could with student loans, but then they're going to get out in the parish ministry where they're not going to make the money. So unlike the Concordia system, we're heavily dependent upon donations. Just want to make that point. So when you get those letters with a little envelope in them, you understand that tuition, for us, net tuition is about 30-35%.
Yeah.
Donations are the big bulk of our revenue.
Yeah, and our tuition mix is we're about 90% tuition.
Wow.
And and we still use donations, obviously, and our church work program being endowed and other scholarship programs. But some of these independent financial legs really help us stabilize the fiscal operations of the school so that we can help with our church work students.
How's your endowment?
It's not very large. It's 13 million, so it's not.
You know, I think this is the case, that for many years the budget of the Synod took care of
exactly.
all our Concordia seminaries included, and that kind of changed. We were not under a need to have a big endowment 30, 50 years ago, but it's all changing. No blame attached to this. It is
fine.
what it is. So building endowments. Do you find that people are receptive to giving endowments?
Yeah.
If they have the resources,
Right,
of course.
right. In the last few years, we've really focused on capital for the relocation. But we're getting, just like you, we're kind of changing that now away from capital to look more at endowment and capital and different things for scholarships. So we're going to be changing that focus. But I think people are, when they see, the thing about an endowment is not only how you affect this generation, but how you affect the next generation, the next generation after that. And that's the real blessing about endowment. You can take that money today and influence and support for centuries. I mean, it just goes on. What a great thing to do that is.
And it's one of those cushions or legs that helps endure downturns in the economy.
Absolutely.
Because I remember some years ago, Concordia St. Louis was showing nice surpluses at the end of each year. And we said, you know, what if this is fine, but it's so based upon donations, what if the economy goes south?
Right.
It went south.
Yeah.
And we had to deal with that. Now we're back in the black. Talking about Concordia St. Louis, I'm thrilled about the partnerships that we are forging. Could you say something, maybe explain what we're talking about?
Well, there's a couple things like this business potential. That's huge. The other one, we've really sat down, and we've had conversations with you in a number of meetings about how, as we look at our seminarians, our pastors to be, how can we help them through this whole process of going to school, to be frank, for 8 years, 4 years of undergraduate, 4 years of seminary, and still keep the quality in the education, the residential life, but help them pay for that.
You've done a great job of raising that up in my consciousness. 8 years is a long time. Can we make it 7?
Yeah.
Maybe even 6, but give that same quality that our church has always demanded and I think received in its pastors.
And keep the relationships formed. I mean, you know, pastors, when they go in residence together, learn together, and then build relationships for decades after that. So what we're looking at as a partnership is the ability for us to teach graduate level courses at Concordia under your oversight and accreditation by either your faculty members or ours that would be...
And you have a very qualified faculty, including theological professors.
They are incredible.
Top tour.
That would be dual credit. And the analogy is high school students that take college credit that count for high school, these would be graduate credits that would count for undergraduate education. So students could get focused and get working on their seminary work ahead of time. And I think it's a great idea. We're beginning to work through that. We actually, we were just talking before this, Andy and Alan are talking from our 2 institutions, so we'll be moving down the road. But I think it's a great partnership and an excellent way to support our students, because now that's maybe a year's worth of loans they don't have to worry about, or a year's worth of tuition.
It's good for the loans.
Right.
And I think from my catbird seat and from yours, you can operate an institution of higher education more economically efficiently with partnerships like this.
Yep.
We don't have to provide everything at our institution, and we can provide some of our resources so that you don't have to provide them. We partner, and that's efficient.
Yep. And it's great for the students, and I think it will draw students both to the seminary and to the Concordia system, rather than going to public institutions, because now they're going to say, holy cow, I can go here and get this. That's where I'm going to come.
It's a network, and I'm really thrilled and very grateful to you, most sincerely, for seeing the vision.
Well, and
you
the same
see
to
the
you.
vision, and You keep after us, and we'll try and be good partners with
Yeah.
you. What are your hopes for Concordia University in the future?
Well, we're in a process now, strategic planning, to look at that and understand for the future what would God have us do? How can we serve our church? How can we serve our community? I think there'll be a couple things as we go look at. I am blessed with some great faculty members in our music program. How do we help support that music program? The environmental science program, like you mentioned. Other things in healthcare. When you think about healthcare, what a great way to live out our mission of serving God's people.
Especially for aging baby boomers.
Yeah, for people like us, we love it. And so we're looking at those things. I don't know yet all what's on the horizon, but we're working on it.
So
and praying about it.
You're happy to be flying this mission?
Yes, I am.
Well, that's
a good thing.
That's been great. It's been a joy, as you can tell, to talk with President Tom Seidel of Concordia University in Austin, partner with Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, and that portends great things for the future. So thanks for joining us here in our little studio on the exhibition floor, and thanks, Tom.
Blessings.
God bless you and Concordia.
Same to you. Thank you.